But let's welcome in our guest. It is Wednesday, and therefore we welcome in John Maakaron, host of the Detroit Sports Podcast, and of course, publisher of All Lions. John, how you doing today? Welcome to the program.
Man, fellas, I'm blessed. I hope you guys had a chance to spend the 3 hours Sunday night watching the roast of Tom Brady. It was legendary. Things were said that were not supposed to be said. It harkened back to the reason why I started a podcast, the freedom to talk shit. That 3 hours was a shit talker's dream. It kicked off a great week. Now I'm listening to the debates about Jared Goff. I'm feeling good. Man, no more PC. Real comedy's back. I think people are pushing back on the cancel culture, and I love it because that is what has made me successful, is taking charge of my own destiny and starting a podcast and talking shit about Detroit sports in an unfiltered way. And now if that's coming back, man, it put me in a good mood. You know what we're drinking tonight? It's the Fireball.
Oh, no one had it.
Oh, shit.
I swear.
It's good times in Detroit ahead of rookie mini camp. I'm feeling good. This weather just puts me in a great mood. What are we talking about today, fellas?
Well, I swear Doc watches our show the day before when we pick what is Doc going to drink, and he just went off of, he heard all of us and said, I'm doing something way different. I know I'm smart, Doc.
Yeah, and Doc,
what a legend.
We guessed all different things. We weren't close to Fireball, so
no,
that was hey, that's why the Doc continues to surprise. That's why I appreciate him. But yeah, Doc, I'm with you about comedy. By the way, I love roasts in general. I've caught most roasts on Comedy School when it was on Comedy Central, and now it's on Netflix. And I hate the culture that we're in because of the cancel culture. I hate it. You can't make jokes anymore. Everyone's offended. Aaron Hernandez, apparently and by the way, I get it, but when you're doing a roast, nothing's off limits. Welcome to the club. Everyone could be roasted. That's why I love it. But John, can I ask you something? We talked about the quarterback conversation, Jordan Love versus Jared Goff. What should at least Lions fans, because when we talk to Packers writers, it's they're high on Jordan Love. I get it, right? He had a great year, especially his first year starting. But for people to kind of anoint him and just immediately say he's better than Jared Goff, to me, it's a little overblown. I think given the sample size Goff's had in this offense with how well he's playing, and with the quarterback, this division in terms of quarterbacks, there are up and coming quarterbacks. So where's the comp? What would you put the Love versus Goff kind of comparison there? Who's better right now and who will be better in the next 2 years?
Yeah, absolutely. For the chat discussing my taste in whiskey, look, I take whatever's free. So someone brought it to me, so I drink it. I drink it all, baby. I can drink the high-end tequilas, but this was given to me for free. And hey, a little bit of cinnamon taste definitely goes a long way.
Was that a gift from Dan Campbell?
No, Dan Campbell's not gifting me no liquor. That's for sure. He doesn't want the Doc under the influence talking, because the things that I'm going to say, I'll ask some of those different kind of questions that people may not want to be asked in regards to stuff off the field. So it would be very interesting. The fights that he got into or things like that would be fun. But talking about Jared Goff is interesting when you compare him to different quarterbacks and what he brings to the table. But what's a blessing is the Lions crafted an offense for him. Give him a line, a nice look at the first wide receiver they get for him, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a possession receiver who is so adept at running routes and is sure-handed, reliable. He knows exactly where Amon-Ra is going to be. Ball is delivered, it's caught. And so it is interesting to have that debate regarding what Jordan Love in this offense would look like, a Brock Purdy. But when we get a chance to see Jared Goff operate this offense, he's got it firmly under control, meaning that he commands the offense. He understands the preciseness and the ability to now establish guys. Tight ends do not just come into the league and light it up like Sam Laporta. Without Jared Goff, I don't think Sam Laporta lights it up because of the precise nature that the work that they did in the offseason when Laporta was drafted. I think it was a perfect fit, and that's why Brad Holmes drafted him. Now, here's the thing that obviously is debatable. Does Jordan Love have a little bit more arm talent? Yeah. Is he maybe a little bit more athletic? Absolutely. But in the same token, where Jared Goff shines is his experience, knowing opposing defenses, knowing exactly how to address and read different defenses. And so you guys, before I came on, asked what Brock Purdy would have did in this offense. I think he would have excelled, but I think towards those big games, you would have seen what you kind of saw later on with the 49ers, maybe just a little bit more of, some incompletion, some inaccuracy, some turnovers. Look, guys, inexperienced quarterbacks make mistakes. And I think that Brock Purdy probably would have been competitive for the Lions in the postseason last year with this offense, but I don't think they would have got to the NFC Championship with Brock Purdy. Jared Goff has firm command of this offense. And I think where people kind of disrespect him a little bit is clearly his athleticism. And we all understand if you're a defensive coordinator, you're just going to say, blitz the fuck out of Jared Goff and let's see what he can maneuver and what he can accomplish, because his percentages dip a little bit under pressure. But that's the same with every quarterback. But I would take my chances moving forward with Jared Goff for that one special season to win the Super Bowl. Now, I think where people kind of, also want their cake and eat it too, they want Jared Goff to be the reason the Lions win a game. I just would be surprised if that happened. I think the Lions are a collective team, as they should be, but I don't think Jared Goff is going to rise up in the Super Bowl, throw for 400 yards and just carry this football team. I think it's going to be a collection of talent, and it's going to be a complete team effort if the Lions are going to win it, but Jared Goff's a big part of it.
Love that. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, Doc, especially when you look at the tiers of the quarterbacks. It's essentially a similar type of player. I want to go to the other side of the ball here real quick, Doc, because we had this conversation on our show yesterday in regards to the D-line. And I know we spoke with you last week about the edges, but the conversation we had yesterday here on our show was the interior with Brodrick Martin, DJ Reader, and kind of where Brodrick is at in his development, where he's going to be at going into this year, and expectations on that. We kind of got in a back and forth about whether, what we were kind of, some of us were concerned on what we saw last year because we didn't see Brodrick Martin. And, I was more so on the side of, with Brodrick, it's development. We got to give him time. And he, at some point, hopefully he's able to take that step. And the pictures came out of them on the football field that he looked like he slimmed down and he's in shape. He kind of did what Aleem McNeil did. What are your thoughts on this Brodrick? You're in the building throughout the year and everything, and especially throughout the season. What was your kind of thoughts on Brodrick? And do you think he can take that next step this next season?
Yeah, it's really fascinating to me when I see these rookies come in and their diets. Like you heard Aiden Hutchinson, his rookie year, he said he just ate a bunch of chicken wraps and a bunch of foods that were, obviously clearly to add bulk and things like that. And you saw Aleem McNeil come in. And then in year two, they tighten up their diet and they eat a lot healthier. You've seen Aleem McNeil tighten up his body. And Aiden Hutchinson in year two told us last year that the biggest thing he tightened up was he used some of the money to hire a private chef and handle his nutrition. And these rookies, I know they're in the hotel and they can have access to pizza and things like that. But I just think that part of everyone's development is also eating and taking care of their body right so that they can recover better. The grind of a season is so intense that you can actually, a lot of these guys are going to plant-based diets to try and reduce inflammation, trying to get back out on the field and recover faster. So it's a lot of different ways to take care of yourself, but absolutely. Brodrick Martin was probably challenged. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm certain every offseason, a player's told, hey, you got to work on this. And I'm certain he was told, hey, let's get in better shape so that you can handle more reps. Because the first year he probably knew he was going to see way less than 15% of total defensive snaps. He knew it was a developmental year.
Yep.
And his first year, you heard what he needed to work on: pad level, fundamentals, understanding leverage, because in certain situations, he was going to be at a disadvantage against opposing offensive linemen. And for the Lions, they need what obviously his strength is going to be is run stopping. But at the same token, they want a complete defensive lineman who can rush the passer, break free, break contain, and work different moves to try and get to the quarterback or break up run plays. So I expect, yes, Brodrick Martin will compete for opportunities to play out on the field. And I think it's great that they brought in another defensive tackle. It's great for competition. And you see Brodrick Martin can only get better with the linemen that they have on this roster. And I fully expect he's going to take advantage of the opportunity. And he knows, because Lions don't mess around. If you don't carry your weight, you don't meet your objectives, yeah, you can be a developmental player, but the NFL is not for long. If you don't perform when the time is called, then you'll be out of here just that quickly. They'll find 2 or 3 more to replace him. So the window is closing, but Brodrick Martin will have his opportunity this year to show what he can do. And I think he'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, Doc, and also we mentioned the you kind of mentioned the Kyle Pecco signing. They brought in another defensive tackle. Tyler Boyd signed with the Tennessee Titans, reunites with his former offensive coordinator on a 1-year deal. We had the conversation again. You'd be proud, John. Booner's starting to come around. He's starting to understand that maybe, hey, maybe the Lions like their wide receiver room. Like maybe the doc was right, and maybe there he is. Look at him. See, he's starting to get. Can I just ask you? You think the Lions, aside from maybe bringing in a training camp body, do you think they're out of the Zay Jones more officially? Just they're comfortable with who they have, because I would tend to lean that way. Zay Jones has not visited with the Lions yet. Where are you at with kind of as we get closer to in a couple months now to the training camp?
Yeah, it's that talk. People want that wide receiver. They were disappointed in Tyler Boyd, but look, he went to a spot where clearly he has comfort with a coach that's on the Titan staff. So that takes him out. And I think he was kind of a guy that when you look at it, kind of was on the decline. He might have benefited from being in the Lions system, but he clearly was only going to be the third wide receiver at best. Look, guys, I just think that maybe the opportunity to add a wide receiver could happen when the cuts are made in training camp or post June 1, or a veteran that just really is clearly somebody unhappy that could come in. But I think they're happy. They signed undrafted free agents. They have competition. They have veterans. They have JMO. I just don't think it's a need. And again, you guys know the Lions system. They're kind of adverse. They have to, people, free agents have to meet a lot of criteria in order to come here. And they got to meet, comfort level, personality, contract as well. So I think they're comfortable seeing what Williams has, the undrafted free agent from Illinois. They're comfortable seeing what Antoine Green has. I think it's not a real strong position of need. You have an offense that is going to light it up. You don't need that. You don't need it. It's something that's a luxury. It's always great. But at the same token, I wonder when the trade deadline comes and it's that time to see, hey, do you have a wide receiver you want to trade for on the last year of his deal? Do you make a move? I think that would be the case, is that you look to add to this football team to make it a team that can go over the top. But I just don't see that wide receiver that just screams to me, oh my God, go get him. Maybe it would have been T. Higgins, but I don't. The Lions got an alpha. They got JMO and they got Sam Laporta. So they got some alphas that are going to be competing. So I don't think that they need it. And then again, DPJ is going to get some love and some attention. So I think that there's an opportunity for the competition on the roster already to handle business.
Real quick, Boone, I want to ask, because I saw an article in All Lions. I think Christian wrote it. Basically, it was the Packers writer calling out the Lions. Funny enough, we had somebody, a Packers media member. Shout out to him, by the way. He was great. You guys can go check out that video. And he came in hot, John. And obviously working in the media, you work alongside a lot of Lions, but you're around. You get to meet other media members. These guys, it's to me, I love it. Me and Booner talked about this. We love different perspectives because we're so used to kind of this cycle of information. We all feel the same, and obviously we have different opinions on certain things, but we're all in lockstep. And then you just have someone from a different market go, nah, fuck that. Like, I don't like anything you guys are doing. Like, what the hell was Giovanni Manu? What the hell was Sione Vake? What'd you think of some of the criticism? I know you brought up the, I think it was Locked On Lions. The article was written about. What do you think of that perspective of people going, Manu? Vake? What's up with that?
I think it's great because people were intrigued by it. Lions fans, definitely a little hypersensitive to comments. I think, of course, the Packers media is going to take the simple approach to say, oh my God, these guys are reaches. These guys are guys that maybe are not as good as others players that the Lions could have drafted. Oh my gosh, you traded a 3rd round pick to move up to trade a 4th rounder. It's just unconventional. But in the end, Brad Holmes dunked on all of them. So he can do those things. But at the same token, I love it. I think that there's a natural rivalry brewing with the Packers, and starts with the general manager who talked about the Lions hanging the banner, talking about, oh, we don't do that kind of stuff. And the Packers now are going to be one of the Lions' biggest rivals in the division. So I love it. I love when opposition talks shit. You had an executive, which I thought was one of the best things ever, these anonymous executives. I wonder if it was Bob Quinn. He works with I think still with the Browns. I wonder if one of these general managers or executives that had a player that they wanted that Brad Holmes took is just like, man, he's borderline arrogant. And they can say these things behind the wall of, quote unquote sources. And it's very interesting to see what people think. And there's still that old school mentality of the trade chart and things like that. But at this point, how are you going to question Brad Holmes? He put together a roster and 3 drafts that are graded pretty well. But the Packers, they should be jealous. They should be hating. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hate on your opposition. I hate on the guard. I thought the best moment of the draft in which the fan got rewarded by Kirby Joseph was that Lions fan just clowning on the Packers fan. I thought that was the best moment of the draft. And just like everybody says, fuck the Packers and fuck the Bears.
Yeah. Hey, Bob,
I love it.
Tease Tabor, Jeff Okudah. Go on, Boone.
And we just keep trading up. Brad just keeps trading up over these NFC North teams. So you would hope that some of these other beat reporters around the other states have a little animosity versus Brad Holmes in regards to that. Doc, I want to ask you though, I think it's Friday to Sunday is mini camp here for the rookies, rookie mini camp. What is our just initial question here is just what are some storylines or some things that you're looking for that people can look out for and kind of our listeners can expect out of this rookie mini camp this weekend?
Yeah, obviously, clearly it's not full padded. They're out there working out. What you want to see is you want to see the competition level in these drills. I want to see Terry and Arnold out there moving around, competing against some of the undrafted free agents. I want to see one of the storylines you want to pay attention to is Ennis Rakestraw. How does he acclimate out there? You want to see the undrafted free agents that they brought in, the kicker. What kind of range does he's got from Michigan and Turner? I know people kind of questioning his soft leg. And, soft leg kickers go to Michigan. So I look at it and I say, I want to see, does he, oh, I'm just talking a little shit here. It was interesting too. The 49ers drafted the Michigan kicker, and he kind of started to go a little bit wayward. His confidence kind of swayed there in the postseason after a couple misses. So Jake Moody was interesting in regards to his rookie season. I want to see what he does, but the storylines are going to be great. You want to see Manu out there, his athleticism, how he moves around. I think one of the biggest storylines that people want to pay attention to is Sione Vaki and how he's kind of used. Is he kind of a kick returner, special teams? Where is that going on? For me, off the record, I'm going to tempt CJ Moore and see if he wants to bet me how many wins the Lions are going to have this year and see if I can get a couple schmeckles out of him. I'll go the over 10, see if I want to test him out, see if he's been compliant with his if his habits have changed. We'll see.
Doc's tested him. That's all.
I'll test him.
Great test.
I'm prone to throw a couple bets out there for fun, but at the same token, at rookie minicamp, I just want to see the opportunity now for the first look at these rookies and the competition level and how do they handle, because guys, these practices are no joke. If they move a certain way that's incorrect, if they line up improperly, they're going to get torn a new asshole. It's life in the NFL. It's an NFL practice. So I want to see how these rookies acclimate to getting yelled at, getting getting their fundamentals in order, making sure that they can handle everything that they need to. We only get to go out there Friday, so it'll be a busy day Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we are not out there. So a lot of information will come Friday and Saturday, and then for me, it was interesting in that Sam Laporta last year, if you just go back and research, his first interviews were great. He was loose. He was himself. He was giggling, having a good time. And then as the season wore on, as he got talked to and kind of got the notice, hey, be more professional, he buttoned up. So you get a chance to see the rookies kind of early on showcase some of their personality before they get into the life in the NFL where they're told, hey, don't talk to Doc like that because he will write about it.
Yeah. No, wait, you got a question, Boone? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with that with the rookie minicamp. I just want to know, Doc, kind of on your end, now that we've seen this draft class, really, I'm more so looking for outside of Terrion Arnold. I think we already know kind of what he can be and kind of get into that lineup there for the defense. But who are you looking for, and who do you think will make the biggest impact out of this rookie class for the Lions going into the season? I know, like, I've been big on Wingo, Mekhi Wingo, and there's obviously some development guys, but who do you think is going to end up, when it all is said and done come week one, that's going to end up, having an impact on this team?
Yeah, no doubt. It's got to be Terrion Arnold. What's interesting about him, he's coming in with that swagger, like, I want to be a Hall of Famer. He's doing all these interviews, talking about how confident he is. He wants to make an impact I think he's got a chance. And I know people are kind of pushing back. I think he can be a day one starter on the outside. I think he can do some things early on. I think he'll grow and develop confidence. I know life in the NFL is tough, but you hear the way in which he presents himself. I just am intrigued by what he brings to the table. I don't think he's going to go the way of Jeff Okudah because of the fact that there are veterans here that have some talent. Okudah drafted so high and just thrown in a position where it was so crazy that Matt Patricia couldn't get more out of him, being that he was a defensive coach. It was just really mind-boggling. But at the same token, Jeff Okudah was too slow. He's not a press man corner. And now finally the Lions targeted guys that are physical and can compete. And I think Terrion Arnold is going to make plays. I say that, you know, I could feel 3 to 5 interceptions, making a play and really getting into it quickly because Brian Branch is on the team. I think that he'll have somebody that can help teach him the ropes a little bit faster in terms of, hey, just knowing exactly what Aaron Glenn's looking for. They're going to put him in a position to succeed. And man, I just think that when you look at it, he's set up for success. When you see all the teams that wanted him, I just see a guy that has everything I think the Lions are going to be about. I just don't see a bust with Terrion Arnold. Yeah, it's going to take time. He's going to give up plays, but what better competition when mandatory minicamp happens? I just want to see Arnold against St. Brown and go toe-to-toe with them and see what it's like.
That's a good one.
Amon-Ra don't talk no shit. Amon-Ra don't take no shit, and Terrion probably is not going to take none either. And those battles one-on-one can get very interesting. So I'm very happy to see the competition level across the board get raised. But Terrion Arnold, guys, I think you can get excited about him. He's going to deliver.
I love to hear that.
And John, I want your opinion on this because I think you would you can kind of hold me accountable if I'm right or wrong here. I saw the Terrion Arnold interview where he was told by the Raiders it was a coin flip to decide him or Brock Bowers. What are we doing here? Like what organization does that? Why on earth would you force the future of your franchise, put the future of your franchise on a silver coin? Like what do we, and I'll parlay that into, can you give me the starting outside corners for the Lions, who you think? But what the hell are we doing with the coin flip thing, John? What are we doing?
Okay, here's the beauty of the English language, which is great. First and foremost, cheers to you guys. You guys are asking great questions. I'm enjoying the time.
Let's go.
I love talking football. Love talking about
football, baby.
Yes, football all the time, all day. But here's the thing, the beauty of the English language. That's why we didn't put, if you paid attention to the headline, we didn't put coin flip in the quotes, because here's probably what was said, because I have friends with the Raiders and they asked the general manager or the assistant general manager, and they said, hey, what was this about? And he was like, I can't confirm that. So Antonio Pierce, Terrion Arnold said in a local radio interview, he said, hey, head coach of the Raiders called me and said, hey, it was a coin flip that me or Bowers. And I think the way in which it probably was meant was the Raiders were torn between a tight end that they need to help that offense, to help O'Connell, and Terrion Arnold. And they didn't literally probably flip.
Just making sure here.
No.
That was where my head went at first, was they were just trying to figure out in between. But the reports just kept coming with the coin. And I was like, oh,
because the way in which Terrion said it, I think he also, the way in which it was put, probably lost in translation when Pierce he's an excitable coach. He's like, man, it was a coin flip to get you. And Terrion, I think, took it literally. And that's how it kind of came off. But come on, guys. These guys do extensive research. And you know that Brock Bowers is going to be high on a lot of people's board. I do not think the Raiders are that inept, even though they're a franchise that gets a lot of people believed it because of how inept that team has been drafting. But they did not flip a coin. They were torn. Both sides of the fence. And here's the thing that's tough. Cornerbacks take time. I think they wanted, and Sam Laporta impacted a lot of people in the league, knowing, hey, if we get a good tight end, you now have put your offense in an advantage in regards to just how good and how challenging it is for defenses to stop good tight ends. And Bowers is one of them. He's going to have a Laporta-like impact, maybe 600 yards rookie season, have a lot of impact. And I think the Raiders offense is going to benefit from it. But at the same token, the Lions needed that defender. And hey, if the coin fell for the Lions, then it only benefits Terrion Arnold, because he's in the best spot with Aaron Glenn coaching him, with a hungry defense ready to take over with the veterans, and a teammate in Brian Branch. Go, baby. Tails never fails, if that's how it went.
Jeez, thank God. Thanks for the clarity on that, John. Jeez.
That is great. Hey, I just last question here for me, Doc. I this is actually kind of like a chat question because I saw a couple people in the chat asking it. But I know we already spoke about the rookies and Terrion Arnold. Enos Rakestraw. What are your thoughts on him? Where is he going to land in this? Is he going to end up getting some snaps, you think? Or is it just going to be, hey, just go out there and compete and let's see where you go as a rookie here?
Yeah, that's real interesting because of his size. I just don't see him starting right away on the outside. I feel like he's going to catch a role where he'll have some matchup opportunities. I think he's going to compete potentially to have an opportunity on the inside. Also, we'll get some looks at safety as well. He's a really intriguing player when you see the film. Injuries did some things to him, but he competed and fought his way through it to get drafted. I could see why maybe he dropped a little bit, but it's a perfect scenario for the Detroit Lions. He's a talented physical man corner, can do a lot of different things. And I think having the competition too, I think he's going to be a player that's going to be a little bit jolted by the fact that he dropped, not a first rounder. I think that he's going to come in and compete at the highest levels and will benefit from having Carlton Davis and Amik Robinson and having, Terrion Arnold there as well. I think he's going to be a solid contributor. Do I think he's going to be an outstanding starter early on? I think his development might take a little bit longer. But at the same token, when you have depth, then, hey, you don't need to play. Look, he's going to get out there. I think he's going to play probably his rookie year, between 40 and 60% of defensive snaps his rookie season. He'll steadily increase and he'll have his opportunities to make plays. But everybody you talk to about him says, hey, he's a gamer, he's competitive, and look, early on, when you see that footage of him writing that note saying, hey, 4th grade, 9 years old, writing on a piece of paper, I want to be an NFL player, and hey, Mr. G, I want to come back and honor you if I end up making it. And then you see that photo with the teacher. He's got a good head on his shoulders. And anybody that puts their goals at 9 years old to be an NFL player and then works at it, he said it in that sentence, in that letter. That's all you need to know about that kind of guy. He said, hey, when I say something, I put my word to it. I'm going to compete and do something. And he actually did it. That's a Detroit Lion, baby. And I think he's going to have an opportunity to succeed. And I love the pick, man. Really great opportunity for the Lions to have those two guys on the roster. Enos Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold going to get better together, and two young guys that are expected to grow and develop together in the Lions defense, young guys that can be around for a long time.
And John, one last question for me. And we had this debate, what was it? 2 days ago, I think. We're talking about Jamir Gibbs, just the potential. Lucas believes he's a legitimate breakout player for the Lions, and he thinks there's a whole nother level he can get to. And we're talking about putting up big numbers for a guy like him. And we saw it in a smaller sample size because him and David split carries, and it took him a couple weeks to kind of get going there before they really gave him the reins, at least in his own terms, because they had Dave Montgomery. Where are you at with kind of Jamir's potential? I think Lucas and Booner are in agreement he's a top 5 running back right now. And so I want to ask you about his potential as a player. Where can he get to? I tend to, it's hard for me to get there because they have Montgomery and because they want to continue to keep him healthy. And I think that's ideal. I think it's a smart way to do it, even though I have my own ideology on when you draft running backs. That's just how I believe. I think if you draft one in the first round, you use him a lot. But they have a different ideology, and I respect it. And I think they're handling it the right way, given they have David Montgomery. But also, two-parter. First part, what do you think about where he can get to in terms of potential? But the second part, and I know this is way too early, and this is super early, but in terms of paying a running back, where are you at personally, John, with that? Because I caught some heat for my thought process and how I don't believe in paying running backs after the rookie contract's over. It just typically does not go well, especially when other positions just matter more to me. Where are you at? 2-part question, one with his potential, but two, kind of handling, I know it's a long time away, but just talking about the future, kind of handling that contract situation, and just you personally with running backs.
Yeah, no doubt. No Diddy. I love Jamir Gibbs. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a superstar. You see what he can do out there, like in Alvin Kamara. You see somebody that has the speed, that caught on after the 5th week of the season, that, look, this is a guy you give the football to. I think he's going to be faster, more elusive. He's going to fight for every single yard. And I do think he's going to emerge as a guy that earns a lot of touches. And boy, it's something where you could say, hey, this guy has the potential to be the best running back in the National Football League in regards to being a dual threat option. I think coming out of the backfield, he's going to be crisper. He's going to definitely, I think, really benefit from having veterans on the offensive line. They're going to create big holes for him. Give Jamir Gibbs the football, sign him up. If you're a fantasy owner, I think that you can back Jamir Gibbs in such a way where, hey, this guy can do something for you for 5 years. Now, when it comes time to pay him, you find somebody else. You go, hey, wait a minute. How do you build a roster? Look, odd men out. It's probably Jamir Gibbs and maybe Jack Campbell or somebody else down the road. You can't pay everybody. And it'll be fascinating down the road when year 4 and 5 come in, when it's time, when Jamir maybe is going to want some extra cash. Do they give it to him? And I think they're going to probably, if you kind of read between the lines, I think that if Brad Holmes can find, if you get lucky down the road and find that speedy, shifty running back, you can replace the running back spot. So I'm in the same boat you are. If you're going to, the league trend, it's fair to follow that you wear out those young running backs 4 or 5 years in and you move on. Yeah, there are guys getting those contracts, but you wear them out, you give them the football, and by the time they're 26, that's retirement age. That should be the retirement age for running backs in Detroit. Cycle through, baby, and you can get those guys cheaper, maybe even similarly like quarterback down the road.
It's weird though, Doc. Like Christian McCaffrey's like just in his prime right now. It's just weird how that works out.
He is like
the Titans loved Derrick Henry. They loved him. They wouldn't have been where they were without Derrick Henry.
All right. See, the boys are, it's like vultures, John. They're jumping.
Yeah, I will say, and I think Booner agrees too. We're not automatically saying pay Jamir just off rip. I think if you extend a running back, they got to be a top 3 back in the league and still being able to produce at that for another 2 seasons. That's where I stand on it. If Jamir proves that he can get to the Saquon levels, I think even though the Giants were a shithole, Saquon held up his part of the bargain. And I think if he's at a level where you can extend Jamir after a franchise tag because they got him on a 5th-year option, franchise tag him after that for 6 years, and give him maybe like a 2-year deal. And if they don't, cool. You still got 6 years out of him. I'm cool with that.
Okay. Now, here's the factor, though. The odds indicate that the body starts to break down if you're a running back, if he's expected to get the expected usage that I would think in year 4, 5, and 6. I think that, those kind of numbers now, it's very fascinating when you look at some of the contracts. The running backs are starting to chirp a little bit saying, hey, pay us. And I just can't see paying Jamir Gibbs $20 million plus a year. So I think that if you're Brad Holmes, you start scouring the landscape for those talented running backs. I think it's easier to replace that position than any other out there because of the fact that you can get a free agent as well, maybe in a more reasonable price than what could be expected from the best player. I think he gets a top 5 NFL deal, maybe even a set the market deal based on how he's used. But at the same token, at some point, maybe some of these guys will take less than market value to stay. But listen, in the NFL, the opportunities are there for general managers to say, hey, take a max deal and it'll be put to the test with Jamir Gibbs. But I'm of the opinion that running backs break down. The numbers bear fruit that after 25, 26, their numbers go down exponentially. Statistics say that. The league kind of has figured that out. And that's why I think that Jamir Gibbs, I would be surprised. You can hold me accountable. I would be surprised.
Yeah, you asked
fat cash from Brad Holmes.
I'm going to make sure we hold some people accountable. I'm a guy that holds people accountable, Doc.
Yeah,
I will hold accountability.
5 years from now, I probably would have drank so much I would have forgot what I said.
I'll remind you. I'll remind you guys. You and Jeff. Jeff, you as well.
Doc is spitting. That's what he does, and that's what he does every single Wednesday.
Doc does spit. I will say that.
Yeah, he does.
He does know what he's talking about over there. So when he says it, I believe it a little bit more. No offense, Jeff.
Yeah, it's almost like he runs. I don't know. Like he's a successful publisher. He has a pretty good. I don't know. You guys should check it out if you want to hear more Doc's thoughts and the people around him. Check out All Lions. Link is in the description, and you can check out his podcast, hosted the Detroit Sports Podcast. That is, John. We appreciate you so much. We look forward to Wednesday. And we'll catch you. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate
or Friday,
you, John.
rather.
Thank you, boys. Always check out All Lions. Follow me on Twitter at Detroit Podcast. I always love coming on Wednesdays and filling and talking about football, having a good time. No heartburn. I'm a trooper guy. I went to state, so whiskey is nothing to me. Jack and Coke, boys. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story for those of you that are like, "Oh, John drinks the shit." guys, I'm a man of the people. I can afford Don Julio and I can afford any of those things. But when I was at Michigan State, I worked at Rite Aid, and I would drink Boone's Farm, $4 bottle of wine to get wrecked and go walk the streets of East Lansing. I'm a regular guy. I don't need a lot to get messed up. So I'll drink Fireball. I'll drink, Jack and Coke. I don't need to be hitting the high-end bourbons, even though they're in my basement. I'm good. I'm a man of the people. And if you see me don't hit me up with a tequila. Hit me up with a Coors Light and we'll have a beer. I'm a man of the people. And I always enjoy the opportunity to talk shit with you boys. Look, if there's a time when you guys if you boys can grow the thing to 10,000 subscribers, I suggest you hit the shots of whiskey, Jack Daniels, or Jägermeister, and just let it rip. Just, if you want to go back, I think episode 200 or 300 of our podcast, all we did, me and my cousin Adam, with the freedom that we had, was we said, fuck it. We're just going to take shots before the recording and talk a bunch of shit. And that's what we did. And boy, was it funny when we were laughing, having a good time. I think it's fun to let loose and have a good time. And that's what makes it fun. Free-spirited, and that's what I love about you guys. You guys are free-spirited. You're not afraid to hold back, and you're touching on the big topics and even challenging those that have different opinions. So just keep doing it, man. And I can't wait for next Wednesday to break it all down with you guys.
I can't wait to hear about this mini camp. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love Doc, man. Hey, Luke, we got to get Lucas completely just sauced, and then he can type up an article for all Lions.
Yeah,
Doc, I'm telling you.
That will be interesting. I'll have to be proofread.
Man,
let me get some tequila and let me type up an article about Brodrick Martin and Levi.
Oh, no, you missed that already. No.
He'd go off, John. No.
Absolutely. And one final thought. I'm Team Kendrick all the way. He is slaying.
Yeah, no.
Team Kendrick.
Crushing. Appreciate you coming on, Doc.
We appreciate you, Doc. We'll catch you.
He's out.
Damn it, I loved him till the end.
When he just leaves like that, it's great.